My name's Pastor Matt Stokes. Welcome if you're watching us online. We are glad that you are joining us. We are going to be in Matthew chapter 6, if you want to turn there. Matthew chapter 6. We're back looking at the Lord's Prayer, also known as the Our Father. So as you're turning to Matthew chapter 6, hold your finger in the place, and I'm going to ask you to stand with me. Crystal, can we bring up the prayer? And I'm going to get after it right away. We'll start the message with the Lord's Prayer. As we continue through this, I suppose it's a series. It's not like a series like money, marriage. We're actually going right through the Lord's Prayer, but it's a series in the prayer, and we're beginning each gathering with praying the Lord's Prayer. So pray with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. You may be seated. You know that moment when, I know you know this, when you wake up tired, right? Not from a lack of sleep. Someone just texted me this morning, who's friends with the guys right back over here, said he wasn't coming this morning because he was up all night thinking or something. I'm like, yeah, okay. Aren't we all? You're tired not from the lack of sleep, but just from the quiet weight of like just another day pressing in. Is anybody with me? It's like, you know how people say, I don't know, it's been one of those days. Has there ever been one of those days all week long? Yeah. Sometimes a lot longer. For someone over here, the bills are stacking up. And they're due on that day of the month, and you're not sure how to work the math because it's not working out. Someone over here is hurting because there's a relationship that's just stuck. It's not moving forward. It's broken, and you can't fix it. And more than that, you're already wounded from someone else that disappointed you. So this is just compounding everything when relationships aren't working out on different levels. And then up front over here, there's somebody just wondering if God really knows just how hard you're trying. Hey, I thought we were talking about the Lord's Prayer. Yeah. That's exactly where this prayer lands. This prayer doesn't belong merely in the middle of a church service, or some polished and poetic moment. It's right here in the middle of our real, exhausting lives. So Jesus taught his disciples to pray. And in the midst of that prayer, he says, give us this day our daily bread. 7 simple words, yet they carry like explosive power. I've been in it all week, and I'm telling you that this is not an ask for casual comfort. This is a radical confession of dependence in a culture that today is just too rich for God, distracted by shiny and squirrels. People don't want to be challenged. When it comes to the daily, are you with me? When it comes to the daily, you just feel defeated. Anyone here ever speak the language of faith while you're privately running on fumes? And you're not really saying who you are. You're kind of showing who you want to be because you're just not there. So like Nick, so we have like a tech worship meeting each week. We get together. It's like our own little connect group. We have devotions together. And Nick, the tech lead, says, I'm inspired on Sunday, but a lot of times it's like Monday, I lost it. And Paul, St. James in the group goes, you make it to Monday? He was like drinking coffee. He's like, dude, you're doing great. And then someone else was like, yeah, it's more like Sunday night, And then Paul goes, you make it to Sunday night? You're doing great. When Jesus says that we should pray, give us this day our daily bread, what's he really saying? That we should pray for our own personal pumpernickel and pita and challah, sourdough, ciabatta. I looked up all kinds of breads this week as I was in the midst of this. If you wonder what I'm doing as I research, is it really about a loaf of bread? Bread is a metaphor. Right? It's what you need to survive today. For one person, it's strength against their addiction. For another person, it's wisdom to fix the brokenness in their marriage or with their kids. For someone else, it's provision before Atlantic Electric shuts me off on Monday. Do you see this? It's different for each person what that bread is, what that bread looks like. The husband who has a wife saying, get your act together or I'm out of here. His bread looks different than someone who's facing financial collapse, and both are different than the person who can't control their anger. Like every person's bread looks different. So again, picture the scene. Let me take you back there. Your Bibles are open to Matthew chapter 6. I'm looking into 7 words, but I want you there with your pen because if God presses anything into your heart, you can write this in the margin. The people are following Jesus. They literally followed him up a Galilean mountainside to hear him. And these crowds, if you're familiar with the Gospels, they knew real hunger. Bread, this is why bread is so powerful. Bread is so simple, but it's essential. In that culture, and even today, but in that culture, daily bread was synonymous with survival. So when you think about it in that context, it's into that world that Jesus places this plea at the heart of the Lord's Prayer. Between your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, you have this right in here. These 7 words. Wow. It's as if God's saying, in the midst of fantastic spiritual concepts like holiness and forgiveness, learn to trust Father in the daily. Learn to trust him in the daily. Learn to trust him for the daily. Learn to trust him with the daily. If you're familiar with the book of Exodus, you know the children of Israel were wandering in the desert. And as they're in the desert wandering, God rains down manna for them. He provides bread for them. Manna, everybody say manna. Manna is a type of bread that came from heaven. He fed them in the midst of the wilderness. It was something supernatural. That would take all morning to try to just talk about the concept. But the point is, when you read the passage in Exodus, you'll see that when he gave them that bread, he gave it to them for the day. It was a daily bread he was giving them. That manna was just for that day. It was enough for that day. Read the history. If the people tried to get it later in the day, it says the manna melted in the desert sun. It disintegrated, it dissolved. If they tried to hoard it, I'm going to get a lot of it so I can store it up for later. The manna, if they tried to keep it overnight, it bred worms and it stank. Why did God do that? Because God is teaching them. He's designed this in such a way so that lazy people, watch this, stubborn people, watch this, efficient people who want to get ahead, they're all waking up and saying, Lord, I need you again today. Jesus is reaching back into that history right now. Matthew chapter 6. He's reaching into that history and invites us into the same rhythm. Daily, open-handed trust in God. Daily gratitude for God. Daily pursuing of God. Daily. So that it keeps us from foolish feasting on the wrong food. Or mindless feasting. Anybody here ever engage in mindless feasting? I won't mention this person that lives in my house. Nor will I mention their gender to reveal anything remotely who this person might be. But this person can purchase a large bag of, what are they called? Keto chips? Sodium-free. And just utterly consume it straight down to the bottom. And it's sort of like, so when I question this person, and I'm not being like, what are you doing? But I'm just like, hey, what happened there? The answer is, listen, here's the answer. Oh, I just wasn't thinking. Does anybody ever do this? You go right down to the bottom of the tub of ice cream. You go right down to the bag of chips because why? Hey, did you see the metaphor? You just weren't thinking about it. It just kind of happened. And I'm looking at that, and I'm not looking at the person. No, I'm not looking at the person. And I'm thinking, man, that is such a powerful illustration of like what happens in life. Like sometimes we make foolish choices and we know they're foolish choices. Other times we're engaged in something and like we don't even realize how much time we're wasting. We don't even realize how much mental real estate we're giving to something else when we could have been focused over here. And I say that because I'm asking the question, because I'm asking myself as a leader, like what kind of church culture are we creating? Is it a culture of radical dependence on Christ? Is it a culture that has a passion to be in his presence? A fellowship, a culture that's hungry and looking and searching and seeking and finding and knowing and experiencing the bread of life. Come on, what kind of culture are we cultivating? I had a prayer meeting at my house this week with some area pastors. We all sat down, there's about 6 of us. Jesse came, and this pastor, who just met Jesse, it was kind of interesting to see Jesse in this dynamic with these guys. We were praying for each other. And this man, he said, Pastor Garth, I just want to be in his presence. And when he said it, it's almost like his fists shook, and he almost looked like he was going to cry. He went on to say, I just want to be in his presence so that when others see me in the presence, that they want to be in the presence too. So that our whole fellowship, when we step in together, we're just in his presence. And like to a man, every pastor in the room, that was the cry of their heart. Around the table. It wasn't about lights and budgets and politics and current events. It was about being in his presence. Are we cultivating this kind of culture within Coastal? John chapter 6, the crowds are following Jesus again. Here's the context again. as we move through here, the Gospels, we have Matthew, but you also have John chapter 6. They're following him again. And it says in John chapter 6 that they were following him because he fed them. And so at some point, he continues to minister to them, but at some point he spins to them and he says, you're following me because I fed you. Like he called them out on it. And then he said this, there's another bread I could give you. And if you eat that bread, you'll never hunger again. It says, and the people cried out, I know it in the King James, it says, evermore give us this bread. Like, that's like, well, then bring us a truckload. All right, in those days it would be a boatload, I guess, right? Like, bring us a boatload, Rabbi. And then he says, I am the bread. I am the bread. Whoever comes to me will never hunger. He contrasts the temporary manna. He said, your fathers ate the bread in the wilderness and died. Their carcasses left in the desert. But if you eat the bread that I give you, you will never hunger again. He contrasts the temporary with himself. The true bread that satisfies the soul. The true bread that satisfies the cravings for meaning and security and unfailing love. The true bread that answers the questions about origin and purpose and meaning and morality and destiny. That's Christ. So when we pray for daily bread, I think you're with me now and you would agree that we're asking for more than bagels and pretzels and donuts. We're inviting Christ to nourish us, spiritually strengthen us as this was his point when he said this on the mountain in John chapter 6, spiritually strengthen us as we partake of him. Why did he call himself the bread of life? It's a metaphor because he wants you to absorb, digest him, partake of him, that he would be that close to you, as close as the bread within your mouth. That's how he wants you to be as you partake of him in his word. In passionate prayer, in worship, in this fellowship as we love one another and show, like Pastor Garth said, like show others the love of Christ and what it looks like to be in the presence of Christ. That's how we eat the bread. That's how we eat the bread of life. That's what Scripture means when it says, taste and see that the Lord is good in Psalms. That's how we find this day the daily bread. The strength, the perseverance, the grace, the power, the patience, the mental, the physical, the emotional, and definitely the spiritual strength to make it through, this particular day. And then tomorrow. And then tomorrow. And then the next day. And then the next day. Early followers of Christ, they clung to this prayer in the midst of persecution and uncertainty. It's written through church history throughout the ages. Now, most of us know what it's become today, but they didn't treat this prayer like some sort of prosperity formula. It was fuel for endurance. Fuel for their own endurance, and you know what else? It kept them generous even when their own resources were low. We'll talk about that in a minute. How? Why? Because they trusted that the God of the desert would also supply on every level that he allows, on every level that he wills, on every level that he sees fit. I trust in him. And what I'm saying is that history, the Gospels, church history, inspires us practically today. Here's my point. This prayer reframes the mind. This prayer reshapes the hearts of exhausted but dependent disciples. Exhausted but dependent. Right? I mean, I'd like to think that there's other characterological traits that are connected to my name, but sometimes it's exhausted but dependent. That's just who I am. It reframes the mind. It reshapes the heart so that we keep showing up every day with open hands and a trusting heart. I love you. Lead me. I trust you. Lead me. I believe you. I believe your word. Lead me. As the church and genuine believers went through massive amounts of persecution, political storms, personal losses, because we all know that believers are in no way immune to any of those things. History records, and I'm reading it this week, I'm watching it, it's remarkable that they continue to lift up this petition in defiant trust in him. And the reason it connects with me is because it confronts the lie that I must control every outcome. Hey, does someone need to hear that today? You trying to control your outcomes? Like there's a part of you that needs to be responsible and do something, but there's other parts where we need to just yield it to God, submit it to God, surrender it to God. And their example shows us that this prayer does not erase hardship, no. But it changes how we walk through it. And that changes everything. If this prayer took away hardship, everyone would pray it like some kind of incantation to throw up to God so that I have a peaceful life. That's not what's happening here. This prayer is developing us. How? Massive dependence on him. Massive trust in him. And what I'm finding is that it turns my frantic calculations into like a sacrificial confidence. Sacrificial confidence? Yeah, it's a sacrifice. In some way, it's a sacrifice to give up my worry and my anxiety. That is like something I've got to get out of here and put it up on the altar and say, I trust you. I believe you. I'm surrendering this to you. Marriage, job, family, future, my own negative inside chatter. I'm getting it out and I'm putting it right here. I'm going to say, I trust you. So where are you in your life right now where you might be like those that were wandering in the desert? Like you're tempted to hoard your manna and control instead of looking to God for daily provision. Can you think of a place in your life? You're not moving. You want to you're just holding on to that thing you got right there. It's right here. Today, I just want to get out, and there's no forward progression. If you're honest with yourself, you've not moved forward in your spiritual life because you're just trying to hold on to what you got. Just trying to maintain every day, bro. You're staying right here, and your relationship with God, dry, empty, distant. Hey. I'm only saying this because I know the story. I lived the life. You're still hanging on to the words. You're still singing the songs. You just said the Our Father with everybody else. But you're holding on to something that did happen with you and Jesus a long time ago, and you're just not moving forward. I had a friend back in Philadelphia. I wouldn't say he's a friend. He was sort of, I'll tell you the story. You tell me if it was a friend. His name was Pete, and that's his real name. And if, Pete, you're watching this, I'm sure you'll laugh with me. We were talking about this movie. Saw him at church. Like, oh, yeah. And so it might have been Terminator. This tells you how old this is. And, oh, yeah. And so I got the VHS tape and went over to his house. Popped it in, and we were just like, we watched the movie, right? It was awesome. Then I see him later at church, And he's like, dude, that was awesome. How about that scene where he's like, I'll be back. I'm like, oh, yeah, dude, that was killer. And then when I saw him again, you know what he said? Yo, bro, how about that movie? After that, he said, yo, bro, how about that movie? We really didn't have much in common. We liked the movie. So every time we saw each other, we wrung out this one. Are you guys following where I'm going with this? We wrung out this one thing that was really great 6 months ago. By the way, I left the tape at his house. I'm just saying, so we also talked, yo, dude, got to get that tape back to you, bro. Got to get that tape back to you. Yeah, and so that's all we said. Does anyone ever have this happen in some relationship somewhere? It's just not moving forward. The men of this fellowship, I know I speak for them when I say we had a deep and meaningful experience at the men's retreat at Harvey Cedars last year, and the one before that. But if we're meeting every Saturday, first Saturday of the month, over in the other room for Anchorman, and we're still talking about what God did at that retreat, something's wrong. I love recounting that, and when Pastor James said this, and when Pastor Steve said this, but if we're still talking about that, just trying to live right there, something's wrong. The Lord's saying, you can't keep your manna from yesterday. You can't keep yesterday's bread. Give us this day our daily bread. Trying to hold on to that is as silly as me eating 4 hoagies on Monday so that I don't have to eat lunch the rest of the week. You'd be like, what? What, are you having a party? No, these are all for me. What do you got? Well, I'm eating them now because I just don't think I'm going to have time the rest of the week, so I'm just eating them all today. Or like I said, it was like a few weeks ago, I was talking about that raw chicken in my fridge. And I was just looking at it I'll cook it later. For days and days and days, I was saying, I'll cook it later. I opened that plastic bag. It stank so bad. So I'm saying all that silliness to ask you this question. What daily bread do you need today? Are we looking to the Lord daily for our financial decisions? How about for someone here, you need the bread of wisdom to fix your broken marriage and connect you again with your kids? How about the bread of strength to get through the daily struggle with your addiction or whatever's got you in bondage to it? How about the bread of perseverance just to keep your integrity in a toxic work environment? It's I don't think anybody knows how hard it is to go to work every day. Maybe it's emotional energy. I don't know. I'm saying this prayer challenges our negative mindsets. This prayer challenges our inclinations to distraction. It challenges our fierce independence. Quickly, one other nuance I want you to look at. Notice the plural. Give us this day our daily bread. Read this prayer almost my whole life. Probably started it at 6, maybe earlier. Never really noticed that the entire prayer is in the plural. Did you ever realize that? There's no I in the whole prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. The whole thing's in the plural. And in this verse, the plurality is twice. And in this verse, he uses the same phrase. Give us this day our daily. So in the Greek, it matters. Syntax and structure matter in the construction of the sentence. The fact that Jesus is nailing down twice on the word day and daily means something. And us and our, it means something. It pulls us, watch this, it pulls us outward. What do you mean? When God feeds you, he means for you to become bread for someone else. When God feeds you, He desires, the longing in the heart of Father is for you to become bread then for someone else. When you pray for someone in the midst of these pews, you're providing bread for them. We just talked about the greeters and ushers. When you greet someone warmly at that door and they're a visitor and you tell them that you're glad that they came today, you're providing bread for someone else. See, to understand this is essential because true transformation shows up when? During the guitar solo? During the cool clips and the videos? Transformation shows up in how we share what it is that we've received. Scripture says that Jesus said, as you have freely received, so ye freely give. John chapter 13, Jesus said, as I do, I left you an example. Do you see my humility? Do you see my servant's heart? As I do, so ye do. Whew. It's like when you hear the commandments of Jesus, like which one do you think is the hardest? Well, how about as I do? That's what you're to be. That's mind-blowing. But this is what he's calling us to. When you sit with someone in this space that's lonely, when you listen to someone struggling and you hear them sharing the burden of their heart with you, when you encourage someone who's discouraged, when you're out there inviting someone into this place, God is providing bread through you, through you, through you, through you. So as we wrap this up, I'll ask you this question, like what hidden hunger are we talking about today? What hidden hunger are you carrying right now? Emotional, relational, spiritual. What hidden hunger are you carrying right now? Do you have the spiritual sensitivity to identify it, to see it? Because this prayer invites Jesus, the bread of life, to heal that hunger. There is only one that can satisfy the last aching hunger in the human heart, and that is Jesus Christ. That's what we're looking for. That's why you're here. That's what the world is looking for, even though they don't even know it. To move from empty to full, from looking to finding, from depleted to satisfied, fulfilled, to move. And what I'm saying to you is genuine spiritual life, a genuine walk with Christ, an authentic following of the Lord and being his disciple, that is in motion. It should be moving. You can't just hang out with Pete. You can't just hang out at that last retreat. This thing has to move. From anxiety to abiding in the presence. Yeah. From self-reliance to surrender. From hoarding to generosity. Hey, if I still have your attention, focus on this. It's rarely dramatic. It's usually really quiet. I've been around church my whole life. And I've seen preachers, there's going to be a breakthrough today. Someone today is going to have a miracle, right? And everybody gets all hyped up and amped up and juiced on this guy's emotions and all. True transformation, not always. Some of that's really genuine. Some of it's really genuine. Don't miss that. Most of the time, it's a daily. It's like one day. That's why it's called the Christian walk, right? It's not called the Christian run. It's not called the Christian sprint. It's called the Christian walk. And walk, by definition, is to put one foot in front of the other in consecutive motions in a particular direction. That's the definition of walk. Right? Because all three, if I had the time, this stuff fascinates me. At the essence of walking, you must have three things. One foot must be in front of the other. You also must be doing it in consecutive motions, or else you're standing. You can't just be like this. And you have to be moving in a certain direction, or else you're meandering. Like, walking has to have these components. I hope you have a breakthrough. I hope you receive a miracle. For most of us, it's a daily abiding in his presence and crying out and saying, Lord, give me this day. All of us this day, our daily bread. Today, I'm going to choose, today I'm going to choose gratitude over complaining. Oh, someone needs to start there. Yeah. Today, I'm going to choose encouragement instead of just withdrawal. Today, I'm going to choose understanding rather than stonewalling. Today, I'm going to choose prayer instead of panic. And my last question for you, and we'll close with this, I want to ask you to engage this with me, is who in this fellowship needs to be bread for someone else this week? If I know the scriptures and I understand spiritual progression and the value of fellowship, I'm certain that someone in this room needs to be bread for someone else in this room. So, as we close, the question is, how can you share with someone else what God has given you? I'll give you a test. Someone's pouring coffee out in the foyer, and they sigh real deeply, and they say, I just need some encouragement in my life. Okay. You say, and I want a pony. Life's tough. Buck up. Okay. Number 2 is, I really need a miracle if I'm going to see my fantasy football team have a chance this year. A, B, C is, I've been there too. I get it. I hear you. Let me pray with you right now. And just let's both remind each other, God's got us. Jesus didn't teach us this so we could recite it beautifully. He taught us so that we could live differently. So here's what I want to do. I was thinking like this week, but let's just do this right now. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to turn to the person next to you, either left or right, doesn't matter, whatever you feel comfortable. Like Jesse would try to make you talk to the person you don't know. This is okay. Talk to the person you know. Make it as comfortable as you can. But I'm going to say, I want you to turn to that person, and I want you to be able to identify what your daily bread is. And tell that person when you pray, and I want you to take this with you for the week, okay? Just like I've been saying, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. If you're with me in my circle all week long, you're like, all right already. It's changing me. It really is to step into those two sentences. It's what I say. It's reframing my mind. I have to slow down before I get to the things I want to pray about. I have to stop and say this, and it helps me reset. Here's another one that I think is really going to help us all. Father, you give us each day our daily bread. So I'm asking you for this. Father, you give us each day our daily bread, so I'm asking you today for this. What is the this? Strength to face what's in front of you today. Wisdom to reconnect with that person who you haven't talked to and God's putting it on your heart that you need to contact them. Grace to forgive that person that hurt you. Turn to that person next to you and say, well, for me, it's the courage to say what needs to be said this week. For me, I really should be bread to someone else here instead of just coming and sitting. So let's do this together. Let's stand. And just for a moment, we'll provide some space for you to say those words. I want you in just a moment to turn to the person next to you and say, this week I'm asking the Lord for this spread. Strength, determination, wisdom, courage, perseverance, whatever it might be. Let me give you a chance to do that right now, and then we'll close with worship.